Hello and welcome to Talk. Thank you for being with us on another Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about the loss of masculinity in a feminized world. My name is Neela, and if this is the first time you're watching this show, let me introduce to you the Master of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, Certified Master Hypnotherapist, owner and Chief Operations Officer of Embrace Growth, Mr. Gregory Morgan.
Thank you, Neela. Thank you for joining me on the show always. I really enjoy doing the show with you, and I believe that it adds another masculine and feminine dimension to the show, and that has a lot to do with why it works, I believe.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about the various roles of women and men that have been traditional throughout all ages, and those roles have evolved, and their evolution has evolved in relationship to resources. So believe it or not, masculine and feminine roles, while genetically based and obviously biologically based, have evolved over time as a result of either abundant resources or lack of resources. When there are abundant resources, masculine men relax. They begin to lose their edge. They begin to spend more time at leisurely pursuits because they're not as concerned about survival, which is a good thing on the one hand, but then there is a loss of that unique quality that makes men valuable to society. So this is a paradox and a dilemma that we're all facing now in our culture and in our society. And there's also, it's the source of generation gaps, not just the one that we're experiencing now, but even my father and his father before him. So every generation evolves and grows, and as we become more complex and more sophisticated, we become better at fulfilling our needs, our physical survival needs. So in an age where it's pretty sure you're probably going to survive, right? In other words, if you're watching this show, you've got a computer, you've got internet, you've got mobile phones. In other words, you're not worried about where you're going to get your next meal. You're not worried about, where you're going to be living, or if you're going to live at all, or if the people around you are going to survive the next month, week, year, and so forth. In other words, it's not, while you may have some attention on that, it's not forefront in your mind. And in past ages, that was the main concern for most people. In other words, in an era where there is a lack of resources or a scarcity of resources, now that could be brought on by political situations. It could be brought on by war. It could have been brought on simply because of a lack of civilization and sophistication and technological abilities. There are obviously cultures today in which they don't have the technological abilities that you and I have, and there's a very real concern about survival. When a woman gives birth, will the child survive? Will the woman survive? Will the tribe or the group make it through the next winter? So, or a dust storm. There's various things geographically and culturally that would cause people to be concerned about their survival, and in those situations where resources are scarce and survival is a question, this is where the roles of masculine and feminine come most sharply into play. As we grow more refined I wouldn't call us refined. In fact, civilization today is actually less refined. It's just more complex. And we have become far more capable at assuring our basic survival needs, so much so that there are adults born today who've never ever had to worry about their survival and never will, perhaps. It's never been a concern. They were born into a world of abundance where they could go down to, since early childhood, go down to any large supermarket or Costco warehouse type place and see an abundance of inexpensive things. Abundance of things that were for their comfort. You could have as many of those things as you want for not much money. So even people without a lot of income, almost everybody has a cell phone today. So, everybody, basic laborers that maybe work very hard with their hands and have a very, very low income, they at least have a cell phone. That means they have an account. That means they have the device itself. They have an abundance of resources even now. So my point is that when in discussing masculine and feminine differences and discussing the loss of masculinity in a feminized world, we first have to look at what is masculine and feminine, and we'll look at that in a moment. We have a caller coming in, or did they
disconnect?
They disconnected. Okay.
Yes.
So you're welcome to call in and ask questions, and you can also ask questions if you're watching on live stream. Yes?
Yes.
Any of the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, if you're watching on any of those and you text a question, we will get it, and I will do my best to answer it for you. However, I would much rather have a dialogue with you, and so please call the phone number that is on your screen, the 818 number, and that's the number that we will answer here in the studio. The other number, the 310 number, that's the number for the front office, and if you want to register in a course or set up an appointment with myself or Dr. Sayan, or find out more information about our seminars and workshops, that would be the number to call. So if you want to talk to us, call the 818 number and we'll answer that, okay? So, are there any question that is coming up about that already?
Not yet.
Okay, I saw that there was some activity there.
Yeah, they're saying hello and welcoming the show again. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for watching the show. It really means a lot to us, and your comments and your sharing of the videos on Facebook and all the various places that it is posted means a lot to us as well. So thank you for your participation. We're really honored to have the opportunity to make a difference here. So I'll first take a look at what are feminine roles and what are masculine roles. And it's important to me that you understand that I am not being sexist in this. And when I speak of masculine or feminine, or I speak of male and female, I'm doing it for the sake of conversation. I'm doing it for the sake of providing some clarity in a world in which these two things have become so mixed together that we have become androgynous, narcissistic, meaning, egotistical, self-concerned, self-absorbed, we have become narcissists and self-absorbed to the extent that we have lost our polarity. And polarity is what causes attraction between the masculine and the feminine. Just like the north and south poles of a magnet. If a magnet without a north and south pole, do you know what that's called?
No.
A bar of steel. Okay? It has all of the same exact elements as a magnet, except there's no... what makes a magnet be a magnet? A bar of steel,
yes.
Okay? If you take a normal bar of steel and you put a positive charge on one end and a negative charge on the other end, what will happen is that all of the electrons, which are randomly running around in there without any particular direction, will all go and point in one direction.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now you do that long enough and then they get trained or habitualized to going in that direction. And so anything new that is introduced to them, like a piece of metal, it will also tell it, we're all going this way.
Yeah.
Right? So the electrons, in a case of a bar of steel, you've trained a bar of steel to become a magnet by sending a current through it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So it is very important to have masculine and feminine, or positive and negative, in order to have a, I'm going to say, a long-term committed and romantic relationship with the opposite sex.
Understood.
Now, even if your thing is to have a romantic relationship with the same sex, regardless of that, one of you will be more masculine and one of you will be more feminine. Regardless of what your gender is, you will have a masculine and a feminine, otherwise there will be no attraction. Okay? The attraction is the masculine to the feminine and the feminine to the masculine. And I know we've done other shows where we've talked about, okay, how to be a complete person and bring your completion to the other, right? So that would almost imply that I'm training people to be both masculine and feminine and then go have a relationship with another masculine feminine one, right?
Yes.
It would appear to be that way, and so the purpose of the show is to kind of clear up that,
Yes.
in case there's any misunderstanding about it, because we've had this conversation in which I was concerned that the paradigm, I'm trying not to use big words that I have to explain what the word means. A paradigm is an unquestioned way of thinking. It's a model of thinking that you've accepted and you don't even question it anymore. You know, so there was a time in which the accepted thought about the earth was that it was flat. Nobody questioned that. In fact, anybody that tried to say otherwise could be put to death. And were severely criticized and persecuted, okay? And so even Pythagoras and several other scientists and mathematicians who proved that the earth was curved kind of kept it to themselves, okay? It waited until the 14th century. I mean, this was discovered in 600 AD that the earth was curved. They didn't know for sure, but then they made mathematical calculations that proved it. Anyhow, so a paradigm is a way of thinking that you don't question, and you probably will get in trouble if you do. Okay?
Yes.
Right? And so there is a way of thinking that my generation was born into, and that began to be questioned in the 60s. Okay, I was born in the 50s, and by the end of the 60s, you know, men had started to grow their hair long. When I was a kid, men wore buzz cuts, like the haircuts that they got in the military. Okay, short haircuts, and I remember my father always, you know, cutting my hair so short and saying, you know, I'm giving you a man's haircut, you know, I'm not going to have you looking like a girl. And they were really concerned about that. Yeah. And so by the time I was in my teens, all the boys had long hair. We wore bell bottoms. Some of us wore earrings, right? It was like, and that was normal. And if you didn't dress like that, you were weird, right? Yeah. So the paradigm shifted in a very short period of time. You know, in just less than 2 decades, from my childhood to my teens, the paradigm shifted so radically that what it was to be a man or a boy or to be a masculine man was so put into question that it was normal, and I was one of those normal guys, right? And so I don't want to make the show about me, because that's beside the point. I use my life as an example in order to illustrate a point. Does that mean that a whole bunch of people are calling? Is that what that means?
No.
Okay.
It was other lines.
When that does that, okay. I'm gonna let Neela take care of the phone, because I can't think and talk and look at the phone at the same time. So now today, the paradigm is shifting again. The way of thinking is shifting yet again. And so what it is to be a woman and what it is to be a man is being put into question. And so when I say a feminized world, I'm not saying that as a criticism. I think it's great. I'm saying that the world has become more feminine. And so in order to say that, I need to be able to distinguish what I mean by that, so that people don't think that I'm just talking about that I'm making a criticism that men are becoming, I don't know, sissies or something like that. I don't think that. They're valid men, just as we were in the 60s when we had our long hair. That didn't make us any less a man,
Yes.
except in my father's eyes.
Yes.
Right? In my father's eyes, we were less of a man.
Yes.
So I didn't want to make that same mistake with this generation. Okay? So first, I'm going to just talk a little bit about what some of the notes I've made about being feminine aspects. I'm not saying this is what it means to be a woman. I'm talking about feminine energy. Feminine energy is dependent upon a provider protector. It's dependent on a provider protector, not because she can't go out and do it herself, right? But because she chooses to maintain a feminine energy. And some of these other things will clarify that. She adapts to whatever circumstances are there.
Yes.
And that is part of what her value is.
Yes.
Right? She's valuable because she adapts to whatever's going on. She's very adaptable.
Yes.
And some people would say that's pliable or they don't have a backbone. No, that's not true. It's a choice. It's a choice to adapt and to provide what they provide.
Yes.
The feminine side enhances experience. There's a country and western song talks about what good is a great big house, or if you are a big truck or a music concert, unless you put a woman in it, unless you put a girl in it, right? Right.
Yeah.
So if you want your life to work, put a girl in it. They say,
yeah.
right? And so it is. Whatever is going on, and I've often made a joke about it, if there were only men around, if there weren't any women, there wouldn't be beautiful colors. There wouldn't be the magnificent poems and music and paintings and creations made by men very often as an elevation of the soul triggered by their relationship to the feminine. So it is the feminine aspect, whether you're a man by gender or a woman by gender, it is that feminine aspect which enhances and brings beauty to life. Okay? If we were talking about a flower or a tree, we would say the roots or the stem were the masculine part, which is supportive, right? And the feminine would be the fruit and the flower or the tree that collects sun, gives it to the masculine, to the roots, and the roots feed and support the feminine. So that's a good image. You know, we see it in nature at all times. Energy flows from the masculine towards the feminine, who gives back, right? If the feminine gives to the masculine in a one-way direction, the plant dies. Okay?
Yeah.
It just won't survive.
Yeah.
Because the flow of life is like that. Right? The flow of life, it goes from the earth towards the sky. And you see this in nature. And so we often think of masculine as being hard and feminine as being soft, as masculine as being the dark, and the feminine being the light, and feminine being water, and masculine being stone, and so forth, right? So if you begin to think of it in energetic terms, I'm using these images and metaphors because most people aren't educated in the thought forms or the paradigm of yin and yang. Okay, yin and yang is an expression, a Taoist or Chinese expression of the masculine and the feminine energies, and we all know the yin yang symbol, the circle with the two things inside that represent these two sides. But what most people they just fail to notice, and yet it's right there in front of our eyes, is that if you look at a yin-yang symbol, you will see that there's a white side with a black dot in it, and a black side with a white dot in it, and that they are not two things, they are actually one thing made up of two parts, and at the heart of each one is the next. So at the heart of a woman, and this is why I said earlier, she chooses these feminine aspects. At the heart of a woman is a warrior. If you ever question that, just try to hurt the child of a mother and see what happens. Okay? threaten the child in any way, and you'll see the warrior in the woman. You'll see something far more masculine than you had anticipated. Women make great warriors. Okay, women have this masculine aspect that's very tight and very solid, and they choose to manifest feminine. They give their gift as a feminine energy. The masculine, on the other hand, no matter how hard and tough and tattooed and muscled up they are, have a heart that's very tender and very soft and very gentle and very kind and very nurturing. At the heart of the hardest warrior is a very tender man. And so I would not want men to lose that any more than I would want women to lose their masculine part. However, when we live in an environment where no distinction is made, then we are like that bar of steel with all of the electrons roaming in a random and capricious manner. Okay, I mean, they're not actually random and capricious. They're following very specific patterns, but if we were to look at it, it would just look like chaos.
Yes.
Right? So when we put a masculine man and a feminine woman who have a natural tendency to be that way, and the reason I say we have a natural tendency to be that way is that you came into this world in a feminine body, so that means you have certain genetics and hormones and chromosomes and so forth that make your skin a certain way, that give your body a certain size, that you know, in other words, it has all of that feminine stuff, right?
Yes.
Mine came into the world, it has all this masculine stuff. I do not believe that that's an accident. I do not believe that we are born capriciously masculine or feminine. I believe that the spirit is much grander than that and much greater than that. I believe that your spirit is much greater than any single lifetime that you may be experiencing. I'm going to let you let that in for a second, because if try on for a moment, in case that's true, okay? In case that's true, that your spirit is greater than any single lifetime, and you are born into a healthy body with, or anybody really, but into a healthy body in a luxurious environment, luxurious compared to your ancestors, do you not think that maybe you might have had something to do with that? Do you think that's a total accident? I don't. I think that consciousness is much greater than that, and that we are born into circumstances of our choosing to a certain extent, okay? That we have something to do with it, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm saying if you were parachuting down, you might have a choice about arriving in the water or on the land, okay? Or on a rock or in a tree. You might have some choice about it. And so if you were born with feminine aspects, why not explore the opportunity that is, right?
Yes.
You're naturally given a certain way of behaving and thinking and certain desires and all that stuff. Why not explore that?
Yeah.
And why not give that as a gift? And if you're born as a man, why not give that gift to the world? My first exploration of this work was called Manhood as Contribution, okay? And this really came after the experience of living in a very masculine environment, or raised by manly men in my father's generation, and brought up to be that way, and then evolving into a more feminized man as the 60s came about. I grew my hair long, I played the guitar, you know, I wrote poetry, and this is a stage of development for men, which I'll try to get to, but it is a stage of development for men, and then watching that evolution take place, and until I could see how you could become both masculine and feminine and find a balance between the two, and then I saw that in that time, which was about 30 years ago, okay, that there was very little interest in masculine men. Women were, there was a time before you were born, when women were searching for men to be to get in touch with their feminine side and to be more feeling.
Oh.
Everybody would, and this was like a thing, right? It was in the movies, it was everywhere. It was like men should be. There was, it was called the women's movement, okay, and still going on. It was called women's liberation, okay, led by Gloria Steinman and a whole bunch of people, and the only thing that actually got liberated, and I was there from the beginning to the end to the present, and I was very conscious and aware of what was going on, all right, both for myself and for the people around me. What got liberated in women's liberation was the feminine part of men and the masculine part of women. All of a sudden, women were raising a fist. All of a sudden, women were marching and getting angry or tough, right? All of a sudden, women were making demands, taking very masculine actions. Now, it started out like we want to be paid equal pay for equal work. Mm-hmm. Women were paid, and still are today, a lot less than men. Yes. Okay? That's a fact. Sorry, I wish I personally could do something about that. It's not happening. It's happening in my country, at least, in my company at least, that women and men are treated equally. However, in the at that time, it was a big disparity. So women wanted to be paid more, and rightly so. And it started a movement in which women became more masculine, men became more feminine. Now there's been sort of a pushback against that, and you've seen that brought on by people like Rambo, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that, right? So the tough guy movies started, right, in which the heroes were these hyper masculine, super tough warrior guys, right? Very unfeeling and tough and warrior type characteristics. And so, but by that time, the men who were raising sons had become very feminized, and so they were sort of raising their sons in a very feminine way, and encouraging them, rather than to be more masculine, encouraging them to be more feminine. Is that a call? Should I take that call?
Yes, we have a call.
Okay.
Want to go for it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, you're on the line. Where are you calling from?
Hi, from LA.
Hi.
Okay, thank you. What's your question?
Hello?
Oh, hold on. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Mr. Morgan.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
Good. How are you?
Very good.
Question. So you're talking about, let me put this thing on. Okay, great. Now you have my voice, and I don't hear back my own voice. You're talking about the sensitive guy. So being a sensitive guy in today's world, and the way I am, how do you put a balance between your masculine side and your feminine side? And the second part of the question is, when you're in a relationship, depending, your other side could be more masculine or feminine. Do you have to adjust your sides together? Or
Yes. Actually, I understand your question, and it is. Thank you for calling and for the question, because it is the question that has motivated this program in the first place. This particular program, okay? Because I understand that there is a lot of confusion around that, right? So, in any relationship, as we said earlier, there has to be a masculine and a feminine in order for there to be attraction. Yes. If you put two positive poles of a magnet together, they repel, and like that, right? So, in a world where both are masculine and feminine charged, there's like just no attraction. It doesn't stick. Does that make sense?
It does, and it keeps on changing.
So I understand that too. So here's the thing, and this is the part that I've had to do, that anybody has to do, really, in order to have a masculine and a feminine relationship with another person who is both masculine and feminine also. Both people have to choose. Both people have to make a conscious choice, and anytime you choose anything, is it not true that you sacrifice everything that's not that? There are sacrifices to be made, and sacrifice sounds bad because nobody wants to. So remember in the earlier part of the show, I said in a world where we're born into comfort, the idea of sacrificing anything, especially our comfort, is just out. It doesn't even occur to us. It's out of the question. Why should I become uncomfortable? Why would I choose anything that would make me uncomfortable? Right? It's an unspoken question, but it's a question that's there nonetheless. Another unspoken question is, what's in it for me?
Is sacrificing the same thing as compromising, or am I?
Well, a compromise is just a very nice way of saying sacrifice, okay? Listen, anytime you buy something, any purchase that you've ever made in your life, you're actually resolving an argument, okay? You're actually having a disagreement with the person, the buyer and the seller are having a disagreement. The buyer is saying, this thing you have is far more important than the money that I have. And the seller is saying, no, I disagree. The thing your money is more valuable than this thing I'm selling. So you make a trade.
Okay.
Do you see that? I'm trying to shift the paradigm that you're thinking in so that you think outside of. See, we take it for granted that you're buying and selling. You don't ever think about, actually, we're having a disagreement and we're resolving it by changing money for goods. All right? The same is true in a masculine and feminine relationship. Okay? We're saying what you got over there, it's more valuable than this thing I'm holding on to. And both of you are saying that. And she's saying, no. This thing I got, it's valuable, but I want what you got, right? Now, if you both have kind of the same stuff, then you can at best have a kind of partnership, like a 50-50 relationship, which is fine, but don't expect there to be a lot of juice in that. Do you know what I mean? Don't expect there to be a strong masculine feminine polarity. So when I talk about masculine and feminine roles, and one of them's being receptive and the other one's being intrusive, right? Look at the masculine body. It intrudes, right? Look at the feminine body. It opens and receives, and then gives back. Yes? But where does the impetus come from? It comes from the masculine. The masculine's pursuing the feminine, saying, I want to penetrate. I want to interact, right? And the feminine is receiving and then giving back.
Absolutely. But,
So, here's the thing. I understand your question, and I'm going to address that. In a relationship, if you have to choose your role in a relationship with a masculine and feminine, a man and a woman, let's say, because again, I get these calls and these emails like, why did you exclude all of the homosexual people? I mean, we have relationships too. I'm not excluding you. I'm just simply trying to simplify the language so that I can say a man and a woman or a masculine and feminine interchangeably. So if you're a man and you want to have a relationship with a woman, you need to choose who's going to be the masculine one around here. And she needs to choose who's going to be the feminine one. Because all relationships have a protector and a provider and a protectee. Okay? All relationships have that. Ones that don't, like I say, that's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
You split the rent, you split the bills, you pay your half, I pay mine. They go around saying, relationships are 50-50, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that relationship. I'm not criticizing it, but if you want to have a romantic relationship that's filled with love and attraction and mutual growing, then some sacrifice will be made. You have to give up something. So if you're a masculine and feminine man, You're saying, I choose to be the masculine, and in order to maintain that role, the price I'm going to pay is that anytime there's a question about who's the woman whose feelings are more important around here, I'm going to choose you, in spite of my feelings. This is a masculine thing to do. A masculine, you're not going to like this. Nobody's going to like it. A masculine takes his feelings and stuffs it, okay? You keep it to yourself and you share it with the men in your life. That's what the masculine does. Okay? You're welcome to share all your positive feelings all you want. All the joy and the happiness and the love and everything that you feel for somebody, fine. If you have some sad feelings or some emotional feelings that you want to share, you ask permission. A man asks permission to share his feelings with his wife. Men's feelings are very deep and they're hard to digest for a woman sometimes, even though she craves to know that they're connected and that she's important and that she's loved and that he feels something. If you start sharing your negative feelings with a woman, it will neutralize her, or she'll start to treat you like the other women in her life and then wonder why you're not a better woman. She will interact with you as if you're one of the girlfriends, and then she will you'll never be a good girlfriend. Not as good at, you're just not good at it. You won't be good at it. And so she will start to criticize you for that. Now, when a woman criticizes a man, it neutralizes him. See, how women change another woman? How do you change another woman?
By talking?
No, you criticize her.
Oh.
You go, you're wearing that?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She'll never wear it again, right? What? Yep. Right?
Exactly.
Right? You have red hair and you're wearing pink?
Yeah.
They don't go together.
Yeah.
She'll never wear the pink again, right? You can they'll change because they're adaptable. So then when because you're her girlfriend, she will criticize you in the same way. And then wonder, why didn't you change? Because men don't change when they're criticized. They do the opposite. They kind of move away. They go, oh, that's not so cool. I don't feel comfortable with that. I'm not so sure I want to protect her. I'm not sure I want to provide for her. Because after all my loving protection and provision, she's criticizing me. She's devaluing me, right? So women don't know how to talk to men, and men don't know how to talk to women. That's why we have the courses that we have at Embrace Growth, so that they can begin to learn how men process stuff. If you want to get a man to change, you gotta acknowledge him for all the great stuff he did. It's going to be something more like, I really love the way you always care about me and you take care of me and you watch out for me. I love the way that you're sensitive and that you share your emotions with me and stuff like that. And this is one area in which I see that perhaps you could improve. Would you be interested in hearing my thoughts about it? So she has just sacrificed being masculine. If she was going to be masculine, she'd say, I don't like that about you and you better change it. Right?
Yeah.
Men talk to each other that way, right? They say, hey man, cut it out. Cut it out or I'll whatever, right? Men interact in a very direct fashion. If a woman interacts with a man in a very direct fashion and starts telling him what to do, she becomes his mother. She starts mothering him, and then she starts resenting him. Because you can't mother someone and respect them at the same time. I mean, unless they're a child. Right? We respect children and mother them, but we don't want to marry them. Right? So, a man sacrifices his right to express all of his feelings anytime he wants. That's his feminine side. And he tells a woman what he thinks and then asks permission if he's going to share his feelings. especially if they're the negative ones. You don't have to ask permission to share your positive feelings. I'm so happy, I'm this, I'm that, right? Share that all you want. You should do that more often, right? If you have really negative feelings, like you're angry at her, you're upset at her, you're confused by her, you're confounded, you have intense emotions, that just shuts her down. That just scares her and she doesn't want to talk about it, right? Or she will engage with you. If she's being masculine, she'll engage with you and fight back, have a fight with you. So I suggest to men, take your negative feelings to the men in your life who can deal with it. Take it, you should have a circle of men that you could take those feelings. I'm not talking about going and gossiping. I'm talking about saying, man, I have this interaction with my wife. I'm upset about it. Just hear me out. And the men in your life, if they're good friends, they'll just hear you out and not like encourage you to go back and fight her or something like that. They'll just hear you so that you go like, I got it, man. Yeah. Right? Women, go ahead.
Another question. So I'm new to all of this. The first workshop I took, they introduced the concept of transparency. So my knowledge of what I taught it means transparency. It means share everything, good and bad. But then now I'm hearing that I shouldn't share my negative feelings or what I feel. So can you elaborate a little bit what does transparency means? And now
I think transparency is another one of those feminized notions. I do. Okay? When I say the loss of masculinity in a feminized world, the feminized world I'm talking about includes such words like transparency. You know? Honestly, I don't necessarily think it's much of a turn on to women for men to share every darn thing they feel.
But that's what they want, right?
They only think they want that.
That's what they say they want.
They may say that, but then when you start sharing it, what happens?
No, I've seen what happens.
Yeah, so who's right about this? Me or the transparent ones? Just testing. You know, if they say it's raining outside and don't forget to take your umbrella, but you look outside and it's sunny, what are you going to trust?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
You know, I used to live up a mountain road, and all the time they were saying, this highway is closed, there's been a landslide. And I'd drive my car right through it. There was no landslide. Maybe a couple of rocks fell down. You just drive around them, you know what I mean? It's like it wasn't a landslide. So, you know, people say stuff all the time in this world, in this time in life, that are just, where'd they get their information? You know? So I'm not saying that we gave out false information in our own workshops, but I'm asking you, just because you heard something in a workshop, even our own, always trust your own experience. And we say this in all of our workshops. Try this on. This is some information that we see has worked for us. Try it on. If it doesn't work for you, throw it away. Okay? So I don't think that it's wise, and I don't do it with my wife. Okay? Men's feelings are, you know, there's a myth that men are superficial and they don't have very deep feelings. That is a myth. I'm telling you now, it is a myth. You know, if you've done our workshops, that men's feelings are not only very deep, they're profound and they're strong. And they frighten the hell out of women and children. Okay?
They do.
They do. And so I personally think that part of being a man is stop sharing that stuff with women and children because it just scares them. Okay? They cannot process it. It's not, and nor do they need to. You know? And if they have to start taking care of your feelings, you have shifted this beautiful positive reflection of yourself. In other words, the opposite, the feminine. You've turned her into a mother figure, and a mother is masculine. Mothers are masculine. Okay? They provide, they protect, they intrude, they give orders. That's all masculine stuff. Okay? They tell you how to live, they tell you what to do. That's very masculine. That's intruding in somebody's space and putting order out of the random and capricious feelingness of life, right? How many times, if we just let kids go all through life and never intruded upon them and said, hey, stop doing that, don't do that, do this, that's not, if you didn't do that, how do you think it would turn out? I don't think it would turn out very well. And yet there are people who do that with their kids in restaurants and on airplanes, right? They just, they're being kids, right? yeah, they're being kids, but when are you going to be a parent, right? Parents, teachers, men in relationships, fathers, those are all masculine things, okay? Regardless of your gender. Women who have to raise children by themselves without a father around, they're being both masculine and feminine, but they're mostly being masculine.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, you did. Very well. I did get my answer.
Great.
And more. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your question. All right. Thanks for calling.
Beautiful. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we were supposed to take a brief break, and we're going to go ahead and do that now. Thank you for being with us on Love Talk, and we'll be back in just a minute.
در جستجوی رابطه‌ای پرمعنا و ماندگار باید زنی دوست داشتنی باشید. مردی قهرمان باشید. سمینار شناخت مرد قهرمان و زن دوست داشتنی با دکتر آزیتا سایان، اورنج کانتی 15 اکتبر و تورنتو 31 اکتبر. برای تجربه‌ای به یاد ماندنی به ما بپیوندید. برای اولین بار شرایطی بسیار استثنایی تا پایان سپتامبر 8 مهر برای ثبت نام شما دوستان و عزیزانتان در کارگاه‌های مقدماتی آقایان و بانوان در نظر گرفته شده است. ثبت نام 4 نفر در کارگاه بانوان و یا آقایان، هر نفر فقط با شهریه $650. این شهریه برای کارگاه‌های ماه دسامبر و پس از آن با اقساط نیز قابل پرداخت میباشد. کارگاه مقدماتی بانوان در 3 روز: تورنتو 3 تا 5 نوامبر، لس آنجلس 17 تا 19 نوامبر، ایروان 14 تا 16 دسامبر، اروپا 20 تا 22 آپریل. کارگاه مقدماتی آقایان در 3 روز: همبورگ 6 تا 8 اکتبر 2017، لس آنجلس 16 تا 18 فوریه 2018، تورنتو 9 تا 11 مارچ 2018، ایروان 9 تا 11 آگوست 2018. 310 460 2600 team@embracegrowth.com. جهت کسب اطلاعات بیشتر و استفاده از این فرصت ویژه با ما تماس بگیرید.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Hamburg, Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life. The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store.
Welcome, and we are back. We are talking about the loss of masculinity in a feminized world. We had a very interesting call, and we're going to talk about other questions on Facebook.
So people were asking about what's masculine and what's feminine,
Yes.
and the one woman asked, what are the aspects or qualities?
What defines femininity in a woman's character?
Okay. Well, what defines femininity in a woman's character and in a man's character are the same exact things. So, well, because I want us to begin to think about rather than man and woman, because the purpose of this show, this particular show, is I'm attempting to address the fact that men over the generations in the last, I would say 40 years, okay, because, or more, at least since the 60s, okay, have become more feminized, and I don't want that to be construed as a negative thing. You see, I think it's good and that it's healthy that men have begun to get in touch with their feelings, be able to openly, the previous caller talked about transparency. I believe that it's vitally important to any masculine-feminine relationship to speak openly, honestly, and completely, okay? That is very distinct from what most people do, which is called emoting, where you emote. You share. They say, well, I'm just sharing my feelings, and then they kind of throw up on you. That is called emoting, and that is distinct from open, honest, complete communication. So, to give an example so it's perfectly clear, is, you make me so mad. That's emoting, okay? Open, honest, complete communication is, when you say that, I get very angry. I feel a great deal of anger, and I'm even feeling it right now. I'm feeling a lot of anger. So I'm going to manage myself, which is a masculine thing to do, right? I'm going to manage myself. I'm going to put my feelings on the back shelf right now, and I may need to take a leave. I may need to go, shout or, hit a brick wall or something, to release that, but I'm not going to dump it on the beautiful woman that I cherish and love. So that would be a masculine way of handling your emotions. So a feminine way of handling your emotions might be to just share your emotions right then and there, okay? And men, or a masculine person, should be able to keep their center and say, I hear you, I got that, that's okay. Anything else? So I understand. Let me make sure I understand how it is that you feel. You said you feel, sad, upset, angry, betrayed, whatever it is that you're feeling, and I got it that you're angry at me. So a man should be able to hold his center, even when she's raging against him. Mm-hmm. That would be a masculine thing to do. A feminine aspect would be to receive a man's gift and to be grateful for it. To ask him, even though you may be more educated, you may be smarter, you may be more articulate, you may have a greater vocabulary or be better at something, but the feminine receives. And so a feminine characteristic would be, even though you're smarter and more articulate, is that, for example, I talked with the previous caller about making a sacrifice as a man. One of the sacrifices that women have to make is to give up your right to be more of a man than him. You have a right to be. You could live your life that way. You may be able to take care of the situation even better than he can. But you give that up in favor of the relationship, in favor of something that he has that you want, so you're willing to pay for it. And here's the price you need to pay. And that is that sometimes you keep your beautiful, educated, intelligent mouth closed while he tells you something that you know better than him. You allow him to drive past the freeway exit. If he says, I know where I'm going, don't tell me how to drive, then part of the sacrifice that women seem to be unwilling to make is to go, okay, I'm sure you're a very capable man, and you've been driving for years since before you knew me, and I'm sure you'll get us there. I trust you. Okay? I'm seeing biting your lips.
Yes. Such a difficult job.
That is a hard price to pay.
It
But
is.
if you think that the price men pay is any smaller, it's not. You know, if you have all these feelings and you're angry and you want to rage and all that stuff, and you choose to hold that within yourself and to not express it so that it doesn't hurt somebody, and you choose to love and cherish even when she's throwing dishes at you, you know, you don't think that's a sacrifice?
It is.
And listen, you don't have to do this. You could go about your life being both masculine and feminine and meeting other, androgynous narcissists that want to have both their feelings cherished and their leadership honored. But that's an androgynous person who wants both the masculine and the feminine. The reason I say it's a narcissist is because they want everything for themselves. A narcissist is so self-centered, that's what it means, to be so self-absorbed that they want what they want regardless of the cost to others. Mm-hmm. And they disregard what others want in favor of what they want. Okay, so we would say that would be a narcissist, right? So if the man wants to be honored and respected, denied. I want you to honor and respect me. Mm-hmm. The man wants his feelings cherished. No, I don't want to hear about your feelings. You're going to hear about mine, though, right? That's a narcissist.
Yes.
Right? The same for the man. You know, the man doesn't. You're going to listen to me, and you're going to do as I say. That would be a masculine way of being. Mm-hmm. And I don't care how you feel about it. That would be a narcissistic way of being. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care what it costs. You're going to do what I want. That's very masculine mindset. Yes. And the feminine is like, you know, the opposite. So in order to have a polarized masculine-feminine relationship, you need to be able to recognize the cost. Now, if you knew something was going to cost you everything, your marriage, yes, you know, your house, you know, your respect in the community, your dreams, your future, if you knew that in advance, if a particular behavior was going to give you that result, mm-hmm, would you really have a trouble dropping it? It would be a small price to pay, right?
Yes.
And I believe, you know, I started the show with saying that people are so comfortable and so well taken care of, yes, that the thought of giving up anything that they want is out of the question.
Yes.
I should have everything I want and the most luxurious model possible, and I should have it now, even whether I have to pay for it or not, right? If that type of thinking was going to cost you everything by the end of your life, would you really have trouble giving it up?
No.
I don't think so. I think that, and the reason I'm addressing this show today is so that the people in your generation, the people that are going to be the future parents of the next generation, the people who are going to be running the banks and the governments and owning property and basically in charge of the world, okay? Those people, your generation that is coming into being, that's already sort of taking things over, right? I want them to have every blessing and every chance they possibly can, mm-hmm, to have everything that they truly want in life, and to have fulfilling lives that they leave for future generations. So that's just what I want, right? That's just what I'm committed to. And so the purpose of this show is to give you the tools and to let you know you don't get to have everything you want without sacrifices, without paying some kind of a cost. But just like I said in the earlier part of the show, every time you pay for something, you're actually having an argument with the person. You're saying, what you have is more important than what I'm willing to give up. And they're saying, no, what I'm giving up is more, you have something more important than mine, and so you trade, okay? And this is the nature that we often call compromise, but really it's just making a deal. Marriage and masculine-feminine relationships, not the kind that last 6 months or 6 years, not those. Masculine-feminine relationships that last a lifetime, that create value in the world, and that are the basis of all civilized societies, and that leave a legacy of honor and love for future generations, that costs something. That is a high-value ticket item that has a price. And it's not that big of a price. Masculine and feminine relationships that last a lifetime require coming to terms with what you think you want is not nearly as big as what you actually truly want. And that's what I'm trying to say, okay? And I wish I could say it better than that.
Understood. The part that she said, man keeps to himself
Right.
the emotions. He
Right.
keeps the emotion to himself and allow the partner to express all the emotions.
Yeah.
How is it going to work in sharing the life, like sharing the experiences of the life, or sharing about his business, or sharing about his past, or is it going to be like just all taken inside, or no?
No, thanks for asking for clarity on that, because I'm not saying that we should withhold anything as far as facts and information and data is concerned. Okay, as far as sharing about your life, you should share about that all you want. Okay, there are things that I choose not to share, and then I choose not to inquire about. I'll give you, but it's only like 1 or 2 things.
Yes.
Right? I don't care. Maybe I care, or I care too much, but I don't care to know.
Yes.
There's a lot of wisdom in country western songs. I wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then.
Yes.
Right? There's some things I wish I prefer not to know about my wife's past. That's past, doesn't concern me. We have a relationship now. I don't want to know certain things about her past. And so I'd never ask. And if she started to tell me, I'd say, I don't want to know. Right? So that's my business, and that's how I manage my own mind. Okay? There's things I don't need to know that don't concern me, and I'd rather not. That doesn't mean I want her to withhold things that I ask her about.
Yes.
If I want to know about something, then I want to know about it. And the same is true. So when I talk about open, honest, complete communication, open, like I'm not hiding anything, that's the transparency part that we talked about. Honest, and like I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yes.
And some of it you may not like,
Yes.
but I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
And complete, meaning I'm not leaving anything out.
Yes.
If you ask me, is there anything else, I'll go ahead and tell you what else.
Yes.
Yeah. I noticed you told me this, but you didn't mention what happened after that. Can you tell me about that?
Yes.
So that would be like getting it complete.
Yes.
Right? So open, honest, and complete communication is absolutely essential to healthy relationships. However, when I talk about withholding, I'm not talking about, I'm saying express it elsewhere. If something has got me depressed, if something is so overwhelming that it's keeping me down, then of course I should share that with my partner, but I'm going to share it inside of a certain context. I'm going to say something like this. I have some negative feelings that I'd like to talk about with you. Is now a good time, or maybe later? So I don't just start saying,
Yeah.
right? Or I don't just dump feelings on people. Okay? Now, if I go to my men's group, and I like I said, I think all men should have a men's group of some kind. You should have a group of men that will call you out, that will hold you accountable, that will not let you get by with your story, but will true you up, right, and keep you the best you could possibly be. That's rare, but we should, as men, we need to cultivate that. Men need that. Women need a different type of women's group, but men need somebody that will actually get in their face and say, hey, I don't like, that will confront them. And that's the place to share those feelings that would otherwise maybe hurt or destroy a relationship. I talked in an earlier show about women being like a flower, and if men just go blah and give their very powerful and scary emotions on it, I'm sorry, you don't get that flower back. It wilts, and then it's hard to come back from something like that, right?
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying men have deep, powerful, strong, scary feelings. It's even scary for other men, right? When it's fully expressed, it's very powerful. You should never do that around women and children. It's unmanly, first of all. It's dishonorable. It causes harm to those that you claim to love and want to protect. And so it has a cost not only for the woman or child that is long term and maybe permanent, but it has a cost for the man, because now he feels guilty. Now he's just validated that he's a real unworthy piece of, dirt, and now he will punish himself, further deepening those feelings. Okay? So it's not a healthy thing to do. You go and just express that same feelings to a group of men that can handle it, and it's like, it's cathartic. Okay, I got that out of my system, right? And then you can go back to your feminine side of your life, the women and the children and the small animals and the plants and the things that bring beauty and comfort and deliciousness to your life, as a masculine man that's clear with himself, right? It's not their fault, right?
Yes.
Does that answer that question?
Yes,
Yeah.
Clearly. Thank you.
Doesn't mean
so
you hide
much.
it. You just don't have to share all your, right? I mean, basically, you close the door when you go to the bathroom. You should also close the door when you go dump your negative feelings.
Yes. Understood. Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan.
You want to tell them about?
Yes, I want to introduce seminars and workshops that we are having all over the world, so you can learn more about your masculinity and femininity as well.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, as well. So women only workshop in 3 days. Going to be in Toronto, 3rd to 5th of November, Los Angeles 17th to 19th, in Yerevan, Armenia, December 14th to 16th, and Europe, April 20 to 22nd. Him workshop, men workshop, in 3 days, going to be in Hamburg, 6th to 8th of October, Los Angeles, 16th to 18th of November, March 9 to 11 in Toronto, and in Yerevan, Armenia, August 9 to 11. We are also going to have 3 amazing seminars. First one is coming up in Orange County, 15th of October, and then the next one is in San Jose, 22nd of October, and then in Toronto, 31st of October. To book your seat or
And the name of these amazing seminars is
Knowing Heroic
Men.
Man and Lovable Woman.
Right.
Yeah, you can call 310-460-2600, 310-260. I'm sorry.
310-460-2600. It's in the bottom right of your screen, and
Yeah,
that's
you can
our
see it.
office. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can call the office to book an appointment, get your seats for the seminars, or sign up for the workshop. We are also having a very, very amazing discount until end of September, that if you sign up for a group of 4 for any of the basic workshops, you get a deal that I've never seen it.
So if 4 people register in our workshops together, do they have to know each other?
No.
But they have to be a group of 4.
Yeah, we can also help them, because like 2 or 3
so
people
we're
calling
connecting
us,
people with other people. They say, I want to worry, but I don't have another person.
Yes.
And then somebody else says that, so you put those people together.
Yes. But it is fun to take workshops with your family members.
Well, it's basically to encourage people.
Yes.
Because a lot of people take the workshops and then they go back to their family and their friends and they go, wow, you've changed, but those people that you go back to, they have not changed. And so it makes it sort of difficult. So we found that if people kind of take it together with the people in their lives, that it makes a huge difference.
Yes, me, my mother, and my grandmother, and my sister took workshop, my uncle's wife as well. And I wish that we were all in one workshop. So the family grow up in like 1 or 2 years with taking the workshop. But then if we were all in workshop, I think it would have been extraordinary. That's why I really suggest to everyone to take the workshop together.
Yeah. And a lot of people go, oh no, I don't want to take it with my mother or my father or my son. I want to be on my own. And that's fine too. We encourage that as well. However, we found that when mothers and daughters, or fathers and sons, or sisters, or people who are already profoundly related and have a great relationship with it, or maybe even a terrible relationship with each other. However, there they are in each other's life and they're sort of stuck with each other. It really works well when those people take these workshops together. Things get cleared up in a matter of days that may have gone on for a lifetime and destroyed their lives. And then we get the honor and the pleasure of seeing a huge turnaround, and so we're encouraging people with a great financial motivator, a huge discount to take the workshops together.
Once again, 310-460-2600 is the number of the office that you can call, and we are coming to the end of the show. We will be with you next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thanks.
در جستجوی رابطه‌ای پرمعنا و ماندگار باید زنی دوست داشتنی باشید، مردی قهرمان باشید. سمینار شناخت مرد قهرمان و زن دوست داشتنی با دکتر آزیتا سایان، اورنج کانتی 15 اکتبر و تورنتو 31 اکتبر. برای تجربه‌ای به یاد ماندنی به ما بپیوندید. برای اولین بار شرایطی بسیار استثنایی تا پایان سپتامبر 8 مهر برای ثبت نام شما دوستان و عزیزانتان در کارگاه‌های مقدماتی آقایان و بانوان در نظر گرفته شده است. ثبت نام 4 نفر در کارگاه بانوان و یا آقایان، هر نفر فقط با شهریه $650. این شهریه برای کارگاه‌های ماه دسامبر و پس از آن با اقساط نیز قابل پرداخت میباشد. کارگاه مقدماتی بانوان در 3 روز: تورنتو 3 تا 5 نوامبر، لس آنجلس 17 تا 19 نوامبر، ایروان 14 تا 16 دسامبر، اروپا 20 تا 22 آپریل. کارگاه مقدماتی آقایان در 3 روز: همبورگ 6 تا 8 اکتبر 2017، لس آنجلس 16 تا 18 فوریه 2018، تورنتو 9 تا 11 مارچ 2018، ایروان 9 تا 11 آگوست 2018. 310 460 2600 team@embracegrowth.com. جهت کسب اطلاعات بیشتر و استفاده از این فرصت ویژه با ما تماس بگیرید.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Hamburg, Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life. The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store. Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.